Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
We welcome you into Coffee Ann on this Wednesday morning. It's January 4th. Thanks for joining us. My name's Joe Callahan. At the Coffee Ann table this morning, we'll say good morning to Tim Draper from Navigant Credit Union. Hi, Tim.
I feel like a ray of sunshine today, Joe.
You look like a ray of sunshine, Tim.
I'm so glad you're the ray of sunshine. I'm so glad.
Melissa's not the ray of sunshine today.
Normally I'm it. I feel like it's. I need a break.
All right.
So you're going to be our
right.
sunshine
You'll be
for
the
the
ray.
morning.
Sunshine today, Joe. Just good
Thank
news.
you.
Good. Melissa Smith from the St. Antoine Communities is here. Hi, Melissa.
Morning, everybody. I am the
Happy New Year.
dark, dreary cloud over the
Today.
show
There's
this
a dark
morning.
cloud inside my
I'm the
silver lining.
negative Nancy of
Okay.
the show today, so be warned.
Excellent. And John Ward is coming into the third chair. Good morning to you, John. Yes, that would be you right over
Coming
there.
into view.
And John was very good at not admonishing me, but clearing things up, because we were talking about, for whatever reason, on Monday's Coffee Inn about Perry Mason. And then I said, "Oh yeah, his secretary Stella." I'm like, and John's like, "No, it's Della." I'm like, "Oh yeah, it is Della." That's right. So thanks, John.
Street.
I was so close.
Della Street.
That's right. Okay. Alrighty, Melissa, you ray of sunshine. It is time for your first message from the St. Antoine Communities, please.
Yes, I am a ray of sunshine at St. Antoine Community. So for those of you that don't know a lot about us, we are a large long-term care campus located in North Smithfield, and we're on the line of Blackstone, Mass. And Woonsocket. And on our property, we offer an expansive continuum of services that range from assisted living to short and long-term skilled care. We have a state-of-the-art rehab center, a private hospice suite, as well as a large secured memory care unit. And the two buildings on our property are the Villa at St. Antoine, which is our 76-apartment assisted living facility, and the Residence at St. Antoine, which is our 180-bed short and long-term skilled care facility. So if you are presently at a crossroads with your loved one and trying to determine when is the right time to seek more help and support, I encourage you to reach out to me. You can call me at 401-767-3500 or email me at msmith@santantoine.net. Thank you.
Very good, Melissa. All right. I want to open it up to the three of you. Did you want to weigh in on Damar Hamlin? Do you want to express any thoughts, any feelings that you have at the moment about the Buffalo Bills safety?
Well, I think it's horrible. It's so sad that. It's a violent game. Everybody acknowledges that. Mm-hmm. But it's just one of those fluke situations where, from what I understand, he just got hit at the wrong time, and a couple centimeters either way, and none of this would happen. But just the way it happens, and it's unfortunate. But I heard this morning that his blood oxygen level is coming up, so hopefully that means that he will recover. Whether he plays football again, I don't know, but hopefully he recovers.
All right. Anybody else?
Obviously, what do you say?
Yeah.
It was hard to watch, though. It was hard to watch the commentators after. That felt a little forced. I felt like ESPN should have just cut it off. Like, they sat in a circle kind of...
But they had nothing to go to.
They had nothing to go to.
And so
I know. What do you do?
Keep
Stretched to
trying.
the 11 o'clock news.
Yeah, keep going until Scott Van Pelt
2.5
can
hours.
It was just a heavy, awkward. I don't know. There should have been... I don't know what the solution would have been, but it just added to the extra layer of emotion and sadness, and then it turned weird, and then I don't know. But I have to agree with Tim. It's unfortunate. It's a natural health-related situation. I don't think that it was anything induced from the moment per se, maybe just the timing. I have to assume it was something leading into the game. But my husband and I were talking about the fact that, all athletes today, practices and even in game, a lot of them are wearing these harnesses now that they're like sports bra looking things that have heart detectors on them. Was he being monitored during the game or not? I don't know. I don't know how many NFL players do it, if they're mandated or not. I know in college athletics right now, like a lot of the teams are mandated that they have to wear these harnesses. Sports bras.
Interesting.
Is really what they are, is what they look
ears.
like. But they have a little,
Man's
like a
ear.
little heart monitor on them. But there's paid people that are on the sidelines of all of these teams now that are monitoring the heart rate. And it's not just in football, it's in basketball, soccer, just to monitor their excursion. That's not the word I wanted to use.
But how's it going to help if you just get hit at the right time and your heart stops?
It's not.
It's not. The AED at the sidelines is what saves
them.
this man.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
saves everybody in this situation, because from what I've read, it is one of those things that it's not just where he got hit, it's at the exact right moment where your heart is in some part of its sequence and you're mid-beat or
ribs.
in a rest phase between the next beat and the last one, and you get hit right at that moment, and it's like a Charlie horse in the heart. It just locks, and it stops beating. And the only thing that's going to get it kicked up again is the electric charge. So they could, and they did. They did the chest compressions to keep the blood flowing artificially. But it wasn't until they actually triggered his heart to start again, which all happened very quickly, apparently. So there's a very, very good chance of him recovering fully. Because it is so circumstantial and because it was done so quickly, they say it may not have caused any damage to his heart.
Right.
There was a story I read yesterday, and I don't recollect the team or the player, but there was somebody who was knocked out for that same reason and ended up coming back and playing again.
Really?
And was cleared to play. The funny thing is, it doesn't happen that often in football. It happens in other sports
Right.
more.
Hockey
Because
happens.
there's less protection on them. And it happens in baseball. As a matter of fact, I've heard of a story of someone that from the local area that moved out to San Francisco after high school and college and was playing softball and got hit by a line drive in the chest and died for that very reason. They just, I mean, this was back in the 70s or early 80s. And, you know, you get a line drive, it hits you in the chest just at the right moment. And it's not even so much how hard it hits you.
It's where?
It's the trigger and exactly where. It's the fact that it hits you, the hit happens at exactly the right moment. And they're talking like milliseconds.
Milliseconds,
Where it's exactly the right moment, just enough pressure, locks the heart up, you fall down. And if nobody's there to start it up again, you die.
The story that I read this morning is from Hamlin's uncle, who said his heart had to be restarted twice, once on the field, and then once again at the hospital. So I'm going to assume right now that's true, since it's coming from a family member.
That may be indicative of some damage to the heart muscle.
Right.
That would on its own it would stop beating for some reason.
So what the NFL has decided to do is just to move forward, and the Patriots will play the Bills this Sunday at 1.
Yep.
And they just have not decided what to do about this past game that was postponed.
I think the only risk I heard was the fact that Cincinnati may be able to achieve a bye status.
That's right.
Under certain circumstances. They don't have it now, but you don't want to deprive them of that. If they have to play the game, they'll probably play the game. But if everything else works out where they don't,
It's not needed.
then if it's not needed, they probably. I don't think they'd play it if they don't really need it for the.
If they don't
for
really
the
need it, they
decision
don't
about
have
the bye,
to.
because both teams are in the playoffs.
I know, but it comes
That's
down to first round.
But it is first round
buys and
It's
home field advantage.
Home field advantage.
Yeah.
So I guess they're just going to play a wait and see kind of thing. And then
Probably.
I'm impressed that the NFL hasn't pushed the issue harder, because I mean, there's a lot of money at stake to just up and go. We're just not going to play that game.
Yeah.
And the players are the ones that'll drive that decision.
There's
They'll
a
be
lot
the
of
ones.
reputation at stake if they
Right.
did to do something. If they had started the game up like I guess happened
Well,
years
they-
ago, where a guy died on the field and they played the game anyway.
Well, I thought they actually said that they gave him one of those 5-minute warnings saying the game's going to start
Yeah,
again,
but
and then the
ESPN
players
said
went,
that.
"No,
we don't want to play.
And then the NFL called the players' union head Jim Vincent. Is that his name?
I think so.
And said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And they said, "Well, we don't want to play." Okay.
Well, and it's not as
The
if
union drives
it's not
it.
like an injury. It's just, this
Right.
is where
Right, it's an
the
emotional
players
thing.
were on the field
Right.
with a strong feeling that their teammate had just died.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Very different.
to
And
keep
now go
playing.
play football.
Right.
Yeah,
Very
I don't
different.
think so. I think
Right.
they did the right thing by not playing.
Absolutely.
All right. So, but it's just from a selfish standpoint, why did the Patriots have to play the Bills this Sunday?
Right.
I mean, it works out so
I agree.
bad. The whole country is going to be pulling for the Bills to
Of
win.
course.
Of course.
Right.
I'm like, oh, we're the bad guys again.
Yep.
Oh,
And it's not even
You know
our
what?
fault.
Just let them have it.
it's not our fault. But
the whole season go.
But the
the
Patriots
crazy
need
thing
to
is-
win in order to
do
get into the
we? I just-
playoffs.
Right, and now I mean, I hate to say it, but how much of an emotional roller coaster the Bills still
Right.
going to be on? It's either
They
going to work
might-
to their advantage,
or not.
or
they're
not.
gonna-
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If
You know,
they've
they
all-
haven't practiced
if they've all
much.
if they've all got the number 3 on their shoulder,
Right? It's a rally
Yeah.
call.
they'll be
and then-
motivated.
Or will they just be so distraught?
No, they'll be
that-
motivated.
You think, well, I think
yeah.
so too.
well, I think this they'll
could be a crusher.
hopefully there'll be some good news about this guy today or tomorrow, and they'll say that he's improving, and once they start saying that,
Conscious, yeah.
then the players start to rally, and that's
Yeah.
when you start to really.
And then the Patriots are going to lose. Although the Patriots can get in the playoffs if
Well,
they
the reality is,
lose,
the Patriots haven't really done a very good job against the Bills the last few times they
three
played them.
things
So
have to happen. Three teams have to
Right.
win.
Now, what's their record so far this year?
Patriots,
Yeah.
500, right? We're
Yeah,
eight,
is it
8-8?
8-8,
Eight
yeah,
and eight.
And what's Tampa Bay's record?
8-8, and they're in.
Tampa Bay's in the top of their division.
Yes,
Right.
they're in the
And
top.
the Patriots
They
are
were
fighting to get
Never
in.
mind. Never mind.
We
I
moved
thought it
into
interesting
second place.
that Tampa Bay can have such a lousy record.
But who feels good about our who feels good about our
Nobody.
season right now?
Nobody. I don't feel
You're
good about
watching
the
these
season.
games, and it's not like it's that old feeling when Tom was in, where you're like, oh, you always feel like we could be losing for most
We
of the
could be
game, but
down
we're
by
going to pull it
7
out in the end.
points, 6 points
It's
with what 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady's at the helm. You're like, all right, we'll get
This
this.
has been
I'm
pure
gonna get a- I'm
torture.
gonna get a drink.
These
I'm gonna
games
go.
have been
Perfect
pure
timing. We
torture.
can leave them with no time left. when they
Right.
get the
Yeah, we're
ball.
always thinking, okay, we got this timeout thing managed and everything.
You're like, I can go to the bathroom. I'm going to come back, and we're going to win.
But
This-
I remember thinking the very same thing about Roger Staubach back in the old days when I'd watch him play. And
Yeah.
it was like 2-minute warning, they're down. So
So what? They're not down by 9.
sideline, down the
Right.
field,
They're
touchdown.
down by a touchdown and a
Sideline,
field
sideline,
goal.
sideline, down the field,
deal.
touchdown.
Do you feel like that's ever reflective of the type of student they used to be? I was joking about this with my daughter, like procrastinators or not. I feel like the quarterbacks that are successful in those crunch moments are probably the kind of students that back in the day would write the
Waited
paper
till
the
the
night
very
before.
minute, right.
Yeah,
That's possible.
You know, versus the planners, the organizers, the overthinkers,
Although I got to think that Tom Brady was one of those organizer, planner,
You think
overthinkers.
so?
I think Tom Brady was.
Because
Yeah,
sometimes
he's just
sometimes they're
he's
victims
manic
of their
about it.
defense, and
Yeah.
they have to fight to get the points, and so
Right.
the confidence comes from being well planned. But you're right, there are probably those too that
do
are,
well in those crunch moments.
Right.
The pop quiz type kids.
But
that
that's
can-
probably more the Fran Tarkenton, the scramblers.
Scramblers.
Patrick Mahomes was probably
Yeah.
Oh,
probably
yeah.
the guy that did everything at the last minute.
Yeah, right.
Oh no, we're gonna move.
Oh,
You
well, we're losing.
Now, Tim and John and I, we remember the good old days. You're not going to remember this, Melissa, when the
Because you're
Patriots
not old enough.
when the Patriots were lousy.
Oh, God.
Just was just lousy. So we're back to that.
Yeah,
we're not quite back to it yet, but she's just used to them winning all the time. We remember the 1 in 15 seasons.
I was saying to my son Ben, who's my youngest, was born in 2000. Never knew another team, you know, when we started watching
Other than
football
that,
together,
the Patriots.
other than Tom Brady and the Patriots. I
Yeah.
mean, I just watched perfection all the time.
Yeah.
And when they started this little slide here, he just
don't get
shakes
it.
his head and go, I can't believe they're this bad. I'm like,
Yeah.
they were.
Oh yeah.
This is just a repeat of history, buddy.
I was around for the 80s and 90s before the 2000s hit.
All right,
so
so you've-
I saw the roller coaster
Well,
of many years of...
they were not that bad in the 80s and 90s. We're
Well,
talking the 60s and 70s.
Right, yes.
Oh, yeah, that I wasn't here for.
Well,
no.
they had Bledsoe, so you remember Bledsoe,
Yeah.
right? You
Yep.
don't remember Steve Grogan. You don't
No, I
remember
remember a
Tony
little
Eason.
Oh, Tony. God.
I remember when we brought Pete Carroll in as a coach, everyone
Oh.
was like so excited that this is going to be it, Pete
Well, you know what
Carroll,
was-
and then it just
So
anything
what I
but.
remember about Pete Carroll, the thing that when I realized that was not going to work was Parcells left. They bring Carroll in, and training camp was still at Bryant University, Bryant
Yeah.
College. I remember going into summer school, the summer class, and there's a million golf carts
Yeah.
all over the campus, and I'm like, what's this?
this?
I don't remember that from any other year of training camp. All the players
Were getting
got
shuttled?
golf carts, and
Mm-hmm.
they get shuttled back and forth to the field
Instead of walking.
instead of walking. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, if Pete Carroll's letting them do that, then
There was a
either they're
cool-
running the team or
There was a stretch of time. My husband had worked as the he was a grad assistant at Bryant, actually, in the athletic department for a whole summer, and so he got to work the training camps. He just you can't describe the size of these players
Right. Yeah.
against anybody who's just of normal height, right? He's like, these bodies would come into the equipment room, which my husband was doing all of their laundry, which is so gross, but he felt cool, like I did the Patriots laundry. Now that's gross, but in the back in the day, he would steal T-shirts.
oh, there you go.
Yeah, so
perfect.
I don't know where all those shirts went, but that was like a popular thing was to take their shirts. But the guys were always nice, and he said it was fun to have them on campus.
All right. We did get a note that was called in. If the 766-1240. So if the Patriots win, they're in the playoffs. However, if they lose, the Jets need to beat Miami. The Cleveland Browns need to beat Pittsburgh. And there's one other scenario. The Jaguars have to win as well for some reason.
It's a lot of stars aligning.
That's
Yeah.
way too many.
So the Patriots have to win.
Just look at it that way.
And you know what? I don't know how
That's
they
the
do.
easiest way.
Right.
That's the easiest path.
While throwing floaters for people to pick off in there.
Oh, it drives me
I get
crazy.
it.
All right. We got to take a break here on the Coffee and program. So, Melissa, time for a second message from the St. Antoine communities, please.
Okay, so for several weeks leading up to this moment, I have mentioned the holiday season is a very popular time to visit with family and check up on mom and dad. And exactly as I predicted, we have been inundated with families looking for help and support. They've seen what's been going on at home. They're concerned about their loved ones, and now they feel like it might be time to place them. I'm very full at the villa, which is not a bad problem to have, but there is a wait list. So if you are considering or exploring options and trying to see, if it's time to get more help and support for your loved one, please reach out. I'd be happy to take you on a tour of either building, whether it's long-term care, skilled nursing that you're looking for, or possibly assisted living or memory care support, but plan ahead. So even if you're toying with the idea or you're not sure what it's all about or you don't know if you can afford it or you want to know what your insurance options are, give me a call. I'll walk you through your options. It's better to plan ahead than wait for something emergent to happen and not have a say or an option in that matter. So you can reach me at 401-767-3500. Call me anytime. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Melissa. More Coffee and coming up. Stay tuned.
Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal real special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogi with onions and dirty sour cream, or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported goods. We're open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9 to 6, Wednesdays 9 to 5, and Saturdays 8 to 5. Follow us on Facebook to learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street in Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
On ON Radio.
It is Coffee and here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan, Tim Draper, Melissa Smith, John Ward, and other things going on in newsworthy wise. The former governor of the state of Rhode Island, Lincoln Laumann, passed away yesterday. Did you ever have any dealings with him, John?
No, not really.
No, okay.
Except when I was in the Republican Party, he was a Republican. He was running for governor, and I was supporting him. It was just brief encounters. By the time I went to work in Lincoln, he was retired and living down in the southern part of the state, down in Kingston. And then for the last several years, his health has been deteriorating. So I'm not surprised by it. And I just spoke with Joe Allman last night about that. And he said it was not unexpected. He's not been in good health. But one of those politicians you learn to admire because he was, matter of fact, I copied a comment from Jim Murphy, I believe, who was his campaign advisor when he ran for governor. And he has some things to say about his demeanor and his temperament and his unwavering dedication to the issue and not to the lobbyists and the big donors. He literally would stay away from them. And I think somewhere in the column is the comment he made when he got into office where he said, to all you lobbyists and big donors, the game is over. Because he had no interest in them. Yeah. He didn't go to Capitol Grill. He would go to Cello's to eat. Right. He was just an every man's every man, and yet he was still able to command the room, probably because he was 6'6".
6'8", right? He was a huge guy.
6'6". He was a big guy, and of course he was a great U.S. attorney, one of the longest-serving U.S. attorneys ever. Did a great job prosecuting, and then did a great job as governor because he was everything Melissa would want in a Republican, which is no, really, I'm serious, and I like to think that despite what some people think of me, I like to think that that's something I would aspire to, which is, people who are fiscally conservative, not from the perspective of not doing things, but rather doing things that are properly beneficial. But at the same time, he was what you would call a social moderate, so to speak. He was one to promote issues or support issues where many hardcore Republicans, like we have in Congress now, would never do, because he would never try to jam something down people's throats. He would prefer to open things up and make it more available to a greater number of people. So he was one of the kinds of politicians, not unlike Kevin Coleman, who you come to admire and realize that the term 1 in a million is real. Because he was, as politicians go, he was 1 in a million.
All right.
So I greatly admire him from a distance, and respect what he did and wish his family
And he
my
beat Ron Makley.
sympathies. But great man.
First year he beat Ron Makley, and Ron coming off his House seat
Yeah.
to run for governor. I had a friend of mine who was working Ron's campaign, and met Link Almond at some point, and ended up leaving the campaign for Makley and going to work
Really?
for Almond,
Lincoln
which
Almond.
was like crazy that he would do
Not
that.
heard of.
Because Link Almond wasn't supposed to have a chance, and then. To your
But
point,
they-
John, just people said, "Yeah, this is the guy you want."
But Makley wasn't terribly different than him. He was not a big money fundraiser guy either.
Right.
And that's why I think
But
he
I think there
struggled
was a
in
co-
Congress because he realized, oh crap, I'm down here now. I got to pick up the phone every day and suck
Right.
people up for money.
Right. But Link had a more of a regular Joe
Yes.
sort of, you
Yes.
know,
You would find
character.
him.
Aura about
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, you would find him at the coffee shop sitting there having his muffin and a coffee in the morning, and he would think nothing of striking up a conversation with you. He's not. There was very little ego in this man. That's what his reputation was.
Kind
and
of
you
like a
could
Joe
see it.
Garrahy kind of thing. Would you put him in that?
Yeah,
vein?
I don't think Joe Garrahy rose to the level of Link Almond, quite frankly.
Oh, okay.
I don't. No, Link Almond was different.
All right. Did Link ever come over to St. Antoine Communities? Have you ever saw him over there? No.
Nope, that was before my
Before
time
your
at
time.
St. Antoine.
That's
But I will
okay.
share that I remember meeting him once at my junior prom. He actually,
Wow.
I pulled up to the Biltmore Hotel. He was there for a function, and I got out. He helped me out of the car, and he walked me to the door.
wow.
And I
nice
believe
man.
there was a picture, I think, in the paper of that. Actually, I feel like that's a mom moment. I'm feeling like my mom has that clipping somewhere.
We'll find that's a
So I'll
that's a
have to see
homework
if I
assignment
can-
for you for next week. We would like to see that picture.
Where was your date?
I don't know, but I do remember referencing. I know.
You left the date in the
I
car.
don't remember who my date was for that prom.
wow.
But
A
I do
memorable
remember,
evening.
obviously, I'm very tall, but I remember him being like tall like
Taller
me.
than you, yeah,
and
yeah.
and so that stuck out for me. It was very kind. But I mean, I was a high school kid, so I wasn't following his politics closely at that
Right,
age.
right.
Oh, you're thinking, wow, that's the governor.
I know. It was kind of a cool moment, right? Like fame.
All right. Other things going on politics-wise, and this is more nationwide. Down in Washington, we can't figure out who the Speaker of the House is.
Wow.
We took 3 votes.
Isn't that great?
Isn't this exciting? It's
Can we
kind of
stretch-
fun.
They can't think any. They can't work until they get a speaker.
Right.
They
And
can't
so
swear
I
anybody
hope they
in.
can.
They
Stretch,
can't swear anybody in
I
either.
hope they can stretch this out for about 6 months.
Yeah. But it's so funny because we had it on our national news. All those in favor of adjourning, and here the whole House, aye. All opposed. One person in the back, no. It's Kevin Smith.
But how long
but
can
I
this
don't-
go on? Forever? The whole
Could.
term?
Yeah.
So they,
Something
what
has
was
to
it?
break, and somebody has to surrender, and they have
Was
to
it,
come up
Is
with
it
Uh,
possible
It
you
just
could
sums
end
it
up?
up.
We could end up with another Democratic House Speaker?
No, that won't happen.
But that guy came in second place. He's got about
Yes.
202
Yeah,
votes.
because all the Democrats voted for him.
Well, right.
But that's not
That's
the
it.
issue. The issue is the 19, 20 Republicans
Right.
that voted for
McCarthy.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Mostly
Right.
voted for Jordan. You know, that's the key. Is there? It doesn't matter how many Democrats there are. There's not more Democrats than Republicans, so
All
they'll
right.
never get a Republican to vote for one of them.
The Democrat, okay.
What they really need is a more moderate Republican, or a less moderate Republican, actually, because it's the hardcore crazies that are pushing the agenda, and so they need. And they say that there's a possibility of Steve Scalise's name is going to come out of that, and he might get the votes necessary to be the speaker. But
Can you clarify for me what I had heard, that he moved into the office before?
yes,
And
that's arrogant.
How is that
Wow.
allowed?
That's arrogant.
But how is that
McCarthy?
allowed? I
Yeah,
guess
okay.
who gave the green light to say go ahead and move your plant on your desk
gave
and
the
your
keys?
pen cup
Move your
and your
bonsai tree, I guess.
files?
I guess the room was empty. He figured, well, let me put my stuff there for the time
I'm going to
being.
get
I
it.
don't know.
And,
I mean, talk about a little.
Pelosi moved out, so
That's
he-
maybe
It's
why
empty.
he's not going to be Speaker.
wow. And I hadn't heard that.
I
Wow.
saw a
Amazing.
picture of it.
Honestly, I could live without him as speaker, but I could also live with them going 6 months without deciding too.
Okay.
That'll give him a chance to prosecute that bonehead from New York
Oh my
Oh,
God! Can
the
we talk
liar?
about that story?
before he's an elected official. He's not yet. He's
Yeah.
just an elected.
So what happens if they do an investigation into him?
Oh, he's got
and-
more
already-
he's got big problems.
he's
I
already
mean,
admitted it.
Brazil is reopening an investigation into a check bouncing problem he had back there, and he still
Wow.
never answered for where he came up with his money. And
This goes back
It's
to
like Nicholas
vetting out these
Albertian.
candidates. How is he not vetted out? Like, I don't understand
get
how
elected?
it.
I don't know. I was watching a news program because I switched out of Fox over to News Nation because I find them more down the middle. And I was watching an interview there, and there was a guy on from The Hill, maybe, or one of those news organizations that said, "I've been investigating this guy since last April, and I've been talking about it, and
No one was
nobody's been
listening.
And yet he was still
And
elected.
actually, the guy had run 2 years ago, and he was broke. He had no money,
yeah.
and he ran a campaign and lost.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden he pumped
got money?
He pumped $1 million into his own campaign.
Was that the
Nobody
RNC
knows where
just
he got
saying,
it
"We
from."
need this guy
He-
'cause he's
he
a
didn't even have a
Republican"?
job 2 years ago.
But the same thing.
He had
I
no
mean,
income.
Herschel Walker, I felt like was the same thing. You know, people didn't
he
care.
was a prop.
It was just
Yeah, he
so
was-
similarly.
That was the Trump sympathizers.
Yeah.
But actually, all of this problem really revolves around Trump. It really does.
Yep.
It's Trump backing candidates that were not qualified to run a legitimate campaign against qualified Democrats. Had they simply let the qualified people win in the primaries and not have Trump push his way through so often,
Might have done
then they
better.
would have had a clear majority. They may have won the Senate, and we wouldn't even be talking about this as a problem. We'd just
Last
be
I
talking
heard,
about gridlock because the president's a Democrat and the Congress is a
And
Republican.
I thought I heard this yesterday. In 1923, they had to go to the vote 9 times to get the Speaker of the House.
Yeah, it's been 100 years.
Oh, it was
So,
about 100 years. It
okay.
has happened.
So-
but,
This is not a precedent where
Nope.
it's going out 3. It could,
None of us
it
have
could go
ever
long.
witnessed it.
No, we haven't. That's
and
right.
we didn't have social media back then, and you didn't have
Right.
24/7 cable television.
now, was that Democrat Congress or Republican? Did it say?
I don't remember that part.
I-
They just said, yeah, it's happened before. Where
I'm wondering
we've had a few
I
votes.
wonder what the issue was over,
We
because
didn't
there's
like
always an
Woodrow
issue.
Wilson. I don't know.
Well, I don't.
I don't know who the president was.
Was it Wilson or was it Coolidge?
I don't
Who came after
remember.
Wilson? Coolidge?
It's a history lesson.
Do we
now.
need to sing the song?
This
George
president?
Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson.
Let us know when you get there.
Do you know the song?
I don't know the song.
No.
When did
No, you were never taught the song in
No.
I don't know that.
I
song.
history
I-
class in
no.
middle school.
No.
No,
No,
I,
we were.
I
we
know
were
the
old enough
preamble.
where we just got a list. And
And
they,
Yeah.
they didn't
Memorize
They
it.
didn't. They had the chart on the wall with all the pictures of the president, and it went up to Eisenhower, even though Nixon was president at the time.
You know that I think they still
Because they
exist in
didn't
the
buy
schools.
supplies that often in school, the public schools.
I think those maps. Are
If
still
you're
up there.
listening and you know the song I'm talking about,
No,
call
no.
in to.
we just. It's
And
like.
sing it with
Did
us.
you learn multiplication tables?
yeah.
I get the
okay.
cards.
Just checking.
How
Did
old?
you get the
what-
card?
At
how-
some
I'm
point
sorry.
they
How
got
young
some-
do you think I
At
am?
some point,
Very.
they stopped doing that too.
No.
I get the my card was the one along 1 through 9 along the top, 1 through 9 along the
Yes,
side,
and then you did the-
and then all the numbers in between, and that's how
Yeah.
you had to learn the
Learn-
tables.
match 'em up.
Yeah, get a match up, and then you had cards for 1, cards for 2, cards for oh my. It was
Oh
just,
yeah, memorization, visual
Right.
memorization.
and I was not good at math.
There's a state song too, so if you're ever struggling, these 2 songs have helped me win multiple Trivia Pursuit games. I'm just letting you know.
Wow. The only
When
song
in-
I
when
know
in doubt.
is the preamble to the Constitution
Right,
from
we the
Schoolhouse
people-
Rock.
That's right.
That
That's what they
song
needed.
I
They
know.
needed a Schoolhouse Rock. for
I'm
the
telling you,
presidents.
We're doomed.
I don't know the
We
presidents.
are doomed.
bring it back.
All right, let's take a break right
Actually,
now.
they should bring Schoolhouse Rock back.
They should bring Schoolhouse Rock
just,
back.
just so that Congress can learn what
What a bill is. That's great. All right, time for the weather forecast, and it's being brought to you by Compassion International.
Cloudy skies today with a high of 47 degrees. Tonight, 100% chance of rain, areas of fog, overnight low of 40 degrees, up to a half an inch of rain is possible overnight. Thursday's weather, cloudy skies, high of 40, northeast wind, a slight chance of precipitation till 3 in the afternoon, new precipitation amounts up to a tenth of an inch possible. Friday's weather looks like a chance of rain and snow early in the day, starting in the nighttime hours of Thursday night. Mostly cloudy, high of 41 degrees, calm wind. Little or no snow accumulation is expected Friday. Saturday, mostly sunny with a high of 43. Sunday, sunshine and 38. Monday, partly sunny and 42. And next Tuesday, sunshine and 39.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street, we have cloudy skies, got fog, and 41 degrees. Drought, war, and rising food prices have devastated families in poverty. $50 provides a food kit to feed a family for a month. Just text the word radio to 97646.
A message from the Carew Investment Group, 68 Cumberland Street, at the corner of Clinton and Cumberland Streets here in Woonsocket. The Carew Investment Group offers you personal management of investment accounts. Depending on what you're looking for, whether it be to enhance your current income, a 401k rollover, or retirement income, we'll put together a plan for you. We focus on using quality dividend-paying stocks of companies that you know, investment quality bonds, exchange-traded funds, and use the advantages offered by IRAs. You can contact Paul or Ed at the Carew Investment Group anytime for a free no-obligation portfolio review at 765-8880. Our office is at 68 Cumberland Street in Woonsocket, and our telephone number again is 765-8880. You can also email Ed at ed@carewinvestmentgroup.com or visit the website at www.carewinvestmentgroup.com. Securities offered through Bolton Global Capital, member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Bolton Global Asset Management, a registered investment advisor.
For an Allstate agent, providing protection options that fit your life is something they take, well, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping customize protection to meet them. From bundling your home and auto insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. And just as important as learning what you need is learning what you don't. Because helping you get coverage you want with savings you deserve is what Allstate is all about. It's time to get coverage that's catered to you. Are you in good hands? Call Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, two locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. One telephone number, 765-5000. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Casey Kasem has unlocked the American Top 40 vaults and is replaying original shows from the 70s. This week, Casey takes you back to a special, the Top 80 Hits of 1970, Part 2. We'll hear big #1 hits from the Jackson 5, John Lennon, the Guess Who, Diana Ross, the Beatles, and many more. The Top 80 Hits of 1970, Part 2, right here on American Top 40, the 70s.
It is Coffee In here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with John Ward, Melissa Smith, and Tim Draper. And Tim, I'm not going to forget this week. It's time for your first message from Navigant Credit Union.
All right, thanks, Joe. So this is a new year, and Navigant Credit Union has a new account. This account is designed for students, designed for kids that are 13 to 17 years old, and is called our Embark account. And it's all about starting your journey to financial health and well-being. And the account is what we would call a digital spend account, because we know that kids, the only reason they have money is to spend it for the most part. We're trying to teach them that the best way to do that is to save a little and spend a little. So this account allows them access to their money all the time, starts to teach them good habits. They can use the money management tool on their online banking, which helps them do budgets, helps them see where their money is and where it's going. There's a roundup feature to that account. So if they want to, pay a bill with their debit card, which also comes with this account, they can round that change up to their savings account. So if you spend $1.50, 50 cents goes into your savings account. They round the money up to $2 to come out of your Embark account. So that's a roundup feature. Card controls where they can learn how to manage their debit card. So if they lose it or they forget it somewhere, they're not sure where they did it, we'll guarantee you they'll have their phone on them. They may not have their debit card on them, but they'll have their phone on them. So they can go into the mobile banking application and turn the card off. And then we provide mobile alerts. So if your accounts are low, we're not going to let you overdraft your account. So you don't have any issues with, going to the negative and getting fees or anything like that. It's a no-fee account. So if you're a parent and you want your child to learn good money management skills, then stop by a Navigant Credit Union branch and sign them up for the new Embark account. Just costs $10 to open the account up, and then you are on your way.
All right, Tim, thank you very much. All right, new subject. This note was written in 766-1240 on a completely different subject. It is the country of Myanmar, formerly known as Burma.
Myanmar, yeah.
All right.
Myanmar,
thank you. Okay, the country is still divided and military controlled to this day. The question is, why? You can't go there for anyone to visit unless you are asking for trouble. The U.S. stays away. It's a very confusing situation there Nobody knows what to do with this. Is there a resolution?
Well, I think
Is
they
this
just-
country
I think they
is it
just-
military
they-
control?
They just yes, there was
Okay.
a military
There was a
overthrow
coup?
of the civilian government, and I believe they
When was
just
this?
a couple of days ago. Oh, this was maybe a year
Okay.
or more ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe I just read somewhere where the former president was found guilty of whatever it was they
They didn't like him?
found her
Yeah.
guilty of. But yeah, they overthrew the government with the military, and they have not put it back under civilian control. It's a very strange country.
And so the U.S. just do we have any relation with them at all?
I'm sure we do in some way diplomatically, but
Yeah. We've got no
I haven't
interest.
heard of. I have never heard of any. I've never read any articles about them being in a rush to try to force them into democratic elections. So
That's because there's no oil
there
there.
may have.
I was
been,
gonna say,
well,
there's no
that's
financial- there's no
Probably it.
financial-
The only thing they've got is jungles and water.
Yeah.
Seawater, rising seawater, as a matter of fact, because they're right next to Bangladesh.
No. Okay.
Between Bangladesh and Thailand is Burma or Myanmar.
Myanmar now.
And yeah, not a lot of natural resources floating around there.
Okay.
So what's the point of even having a conversation with them if they've got nothing that we can take
Nothing to
advantage
offer.
of, right?
Yeah.
We do.
Absolutely.
Isn't that why we still have a relationship with most of the Middle Eastern countries? Is because
Yes.
they got oil.
Yeah. Yes.
The only reason we talk to Russia is because they've got more natural gas than the rest of the world combined.
All right. Well, that's what's going on there. There was a body discovered in Coventry,
Yeah, it's weird.
Did
and they have not ID'd it yet. They have said it is murder though, and they've said who it's not.
Yeah.
I guess there's a woman missing from Warwick.
Oh, from
Yeah.
Warwick, yes.
it is
I
not
thought
her.
it was
Say, ooh.
It is not her. It's somebody else.
Oh.
And it is a woman.
Plot
that was fun.
thickens.
Yes. So more information on that
sad
will
and
be
scary all
coming
in
up.
one.
Yeah, all in one is right. And we had to. This is the sad story about the murders in Idaho, but it's just humorous. The way the media covers the arrest of this guy from Pennsylvania, and he waived extradition, made big news.
Yeah.
And today it would be, here he is getting on the airplane.
Yeah.
Here he is landing on the airplane.
Last night it was the body cam footage from the police officer that stopped them in Indiana.
For the second time.
I saw that.
Really?
Actually, as it turned out, it wasn't the second time in Indiana. The first stop was in Idaho.
Oh, okay.
That they
Yeah,
were
let 'em
stopped.
go.
They were only stopped in Indiana once, and they seemed like such a jovial pair, and they were
Joking around.
cracking jokes with the police officer and lively banter. And he said, "You're speeding. Slow it down." And
That was it.
they went on their way with no ticket, because when
So-
they contacted the Indiana police, they couldn't find any record of anything. And that's when
Why
they
was the
finally-
dad in the car from Idaho?
The
back to
dad
home
flew
state?
out there to drive back with him so they could share the driving to get him back to
okay.
Pennsylvania for the holidays.
Gotcha.
That's
the story as
the story.
it goes.
And it makes sense. I mean, it was Christmas and New Year's, and
Right.
so they were going to drive back. It's just going to take a couple of days to get across the country, and if they drive all day and night and they switch off driving, it works. I just don't know how you can actually do something like that and function, because even some of the students in classes with him after the murders said that he was just
Fine.
him.
Yeah, it was just his usual
It's
self.
like-
But him was weird.
Him was weird.
Well,
yeah.
he's weird for
Right.
quite some time, but
Yeah, as a teaching assistant, grad school teaching assistant, right?
what I
think?
loved last night, I was watching, again, Dan Abrams on News Nation, and he was interviewing a couple of guys, and one of them was a criminology professor from a university. He said, could you tell, oh no, it was Cuomo that was interviewing him. And he said, could you tell me the difference between a sociopath and a psychopath? And he defined them, and they're quite different.
Okay.
Yeah, but sociopaths tend to be more introverted, and they get in trouble a lot, but they're not manipulative or narcissistic. And he said basically a sociopath need not be a psychopath, but every psychopath has sociopathic tendencies. But they have
Wow.
more. They
You're
have
taking
more
notes?
because they're narcissists and they're
Yeah.
controlling, and they're
Right.
like making sure their image is beautiful. And they, Charles Manson is a psychopath,
Right.
not a sociopath.
All right. So we talked about earlier that nothing's getting done in Congress because we can't get a Speaker of the House. So nothing's happening,
Yes.
and so people can't get sworn in down there
This
as well.
truly fulfills my created.
John is in heaven right now.
No, it's
It's
no,
a
it's really-
utopia. isn't it?
no, it's my term that government in action is government in action.
Yeah, okay. In Massachusetts, kind of the same thing is going on. The Speaker of the House in Mass, Ron Mariano, has to delay the swearing in of 2 Democratic members whose elections were decided by tiny margins. A recount showed that Kristen Kasner beat incumbent Republican Lenny Mira by 1 vote in the 2nd Essex County district. And Margaret Scarsdale was declared the winner of the open 1st Middlesex County seat by 7 votes over Republican Andrew Shepard. Mariano says he will delay swearing in Kasner and Scarsdale until a special legislative committee reviews last-minute legal issues. So everybody else is in except 2.
But none of this beats Pennsylvania,
What's going on there?
where both parties declared majority and swore in into leadership positions
Their
members
own
of
people?
their own party.
So who decides?
Look that one up for next week. See if you don't find that an interesting story.
Well, that's a good one too. But who decides then who's really in charge? Their Supreme Court?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. Look who they voted for in the Senate. Come on.
So, all right. Other fun things going on in Massachusetts.
Keystone, but I don't know. It's Keystone State, but I don't know what that Keystone's holding up.
So, they always say, criminals are not the brightest of bulbs going. And this man from Massachusetts shows up at Logan Airport, decides he's going to go through security. Okay, but now he's got a loaded handgun with him. It is loaded, and he decides to wrap it in brown paper.
That'll do it.
And then put put it in a shoebox. You have that good cardboard. The X-ray machines won't detect it. Well, guess what? They did. And so now he allegedly tried to bring a .22 caliber pistol through security, covered by a brown paper bag, and placed inside a shoebox. He has a dangerousness hearing today.
So what possesses you to want to do that, I wonder?
I want to go back to jail.
It
Oh,
has
Yeah,
to
there
be.
is that.
Like-
Winter's coming. It's getting cold. I want to go back to jail because the street's kind of chilly.
It's
Okay.
cold. I get fed there
There are those.
There are those, I'm
There
sure.
are those who prefer to be homeless in prison.
Yep, okay.
because this man, his name is Lorenzo Beecham. This is his 3rd offense of a possession of a loaded gun without a license.
Well, if you're homeless, how do you get a gun?
Your friends? I don't know. You steal it?
Okay. There's a lot of questions here.
I was just thinking the same.
He's been held without bail since December 28th, so
Yeah.
this is when this all took place. I think he just wants to go back and don't want to hurt
Clearly
anybody.
didn't want to access the gun quickly.
Yeah.
If he put it in a shoebox, wrapped it in paper, and
want to make it look.
It was a gift for somebody.
Kind of good. It
was a gift.
See if I can get it through security. Although,
Should've
but
put Christmas wrapping paper
But what's
on it, at least it would've
amazing, if I remember correctly, when you go through security, the first thing you have to show, besides your license, is your boarding pass that shows that you're actually getting on the plane.
Actually,
No?
you talking about TSA?
Yeah.
No, they stopped that. The last
They-
two times I've traveled.
you don't have to show
the last
your
two
No, you
times
show
I
your
traveled,
license.
I
That's it.
I got the TSA window and I picked the boarding pass. No, he just wanted my
License.
ID.
Just a
All he
license.
was confirming was my identification. I have no idea when
All
that
right.
changed, but
Yeah.
twice now it's happened to me.
Interesting. Okay.
That they didn't look for my boarding pass. I don't know why. I would have thought you can't get through unless you have business on the other side.
That's right. Because you go, that was always the big deal. You can't say goodbye to loved ones at the gate anymore because you had to go through TSA. But now anybody can get through now.
Maybe, I don't know. Call TSA. Find out what's going on.
There's another story.
I was not.
We
I
got like
was
15
not aware
minutes
of
on the
that.
show.
Another
We can
research
make that
project
call
for
in the
next week.
background.
What's that,
Dave?
But they, now the interesting thing is you don't have to have a real ID anymore for another 2 years, is it?
Something like that.
Has that been extended again
Yep.
Because
because of
I
COVID?
mean, I have one, but
So do I.
it's, I'm kind of looking forward to the day where somebody's standing in line ahead of me and
They don't have
they
one?
show the ID and they say, oh,
That's
that's
not
not
a
good
real
enough, you
ID?
can't come through.
Oh, it's gonna be ugly.
Oh, the explosions. It's going to be wonderful to watch.
Listen, more importantly, we're getting new license plates now, aren't we?
Yes.
First of the year, we're supposed to be getting our new plates with the
You get the
new
one wave.
registrations.
Isn't the one wave
I
now?
thought it was the 5-wave.
Well, maybe it is. Maybe it's. I
The
got it
new one's the
backwards.
5-wave.
Yeah, the 5-wave, yeah.
So I have a
John's so
grievance.
excited about it.
That evokes
With-
that. I think of the emoji with the green stuff coming out of the mouth when I think of those.
What's your grievance?
I
Melissa?
might have talked about this over the summer when it came up that they were doing a new license plate design, et cetera, et cetera. So the old license plate, you probably saw it on my car for however long up until last summer. Mine had a defect, like it was bubbling up.
Yeah.
A lot of plates had that issue. I still had to pay for plate replacement The new ones are coming out. Are we not paying for these? They're not being issued for free.
There's a
think they're
nominal
$7,
charge,
something like that.
$7.
Oh, well, I'm not going to complain,
But
I
I'm
guess.
not
But I'm like, but I paid,
No,
I
but
think,
you should
30.
complain.
But it's just aggravating. I just replaced those because of a defect
I
and
fe-
had to pay for
I
them.
feel good because my registration renewal doesn't come up until November of 23.
Oh, mine's coming up this year.
You're
It's
having
gotta
a
be
good day. You've had
gotta
a
be
lot of. He's
wild.
had a lot
a
of
lot of good
positive.
things today, right.
It's gonna be a while before I have to worry about going from one wave to 5.
All right, we
What
have to get
what a gross conclusion that came to.
time for a break here on the Coffee and program. So, Tim, time for a second message from Navigant Credit Union, please.
Well, folks, as the winter progresses and you start thinking about what's going on in the spring, I know rates are a little high, but they won't stay high forever. But if you want that to do that home improvement project, you might as well just get started on it and plan for it now, because it's going to probably take a little while to get your financing in order and certainly get your supplies if you're going to be doing anything. So now's a good time to talk to one of our loan specialists at Navigant Credit Union. And if you want to give us a call, you can talk to somebody in the contact center, which, by the way, is still in the United States of America, and it has actually been moved. We have moved our contact center out of the building we're in now because we've outgrown it. And in order to provide better service, we've added more staff to the contact center and put them over in the old AD Cross building in Lincoln. So we have a satellite office for our contact center who does a great job all the time. And we want you to feel free to give them a call. Ask them any question you want, because they're pretty schooled and everything. So 233-4700 gets you to that department, and navigantcu.org for all the information you may want if you don't want to talk to anybody.
Do you do surprise inspections just to pop on in and say, "Hey, what's going on"?
I have, but they've locked that building down pretty tight. So, and my little badgy thing
Doesn't
here
work?
doesn't work over there. so
Oh,
I'm like,
too
ah,
bad. Got to knock.
I got to knock, and then they know, and then they all scramble to get. No, that's not true.
All right. Have you taken over the entire AT Cross building?
No,
or
no,
part
no.
of it?
It's
a lot
a
of
massive building.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It is.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, they there's a whole bunch of new businesses going in that building. It's
they?
actually pretty nice. It's a pretty nice setup.
Okay.
Until we can build another spot in our current location, which is down the road, we'll temporarily put everybody over there.
Do you have more land at that?
We have a little bit more land in that spot. It's tight,
It's tight, yeah.
but they've looked at a couple of different options for adding another. Our buildings are built like they're 2 blocks, and they're connected by the sort of the rotunda. They could put one more block on the property, but we need parking.
I
and
was
that's
just
the
going to
issue.
say, you're parking. You're going to be
And so
shuttling
we're-
down from the Fidelity campus.
Well,
before you know
we're
it.
actually. I think that's the issue. Is Fidelity owns a piece of land that I think we need.
I don't know that they need it anymore. I feel like they're half
Right. I
vacant
don't
on
think
their
I
property.
don't think they do. Which is why I think they're entertaining.
Over a
the thought.
corporate tug of war.
Yeah, they have
Battle's
much
on.
deeper pockets than we do. So
All right. More Coffee Hands coming up. Stay tuned. So you're remodeling your home and you want to find just the right flooring. So off you go to DRL Carpet. Why? Because they have the best selection and prices in Rhode Island and Massachusetts. That means you don't have to wait. Plus, it means you can get it installed now. So first you get the best price. Next you get the best service and you get the best selection. Whether you're looking for carpet, tile, hardwood floors, the place to shop is DRL Carpet, 27 Veterans Way, Woonsocket, next to World War II Veterans Memorial Park. DRL Carpet reminds you there's a big difference between getting the job done and getting the job done right. DRL Carpet of Woonsocket. Champ's Diner has reopened. Judy Boschman, owner of Missy's Family Restaurant and Champ's Diner, invites you to stop in to Champ's Diner, 719 Front Street, Woonsocket. They're open Tuesday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. for breakfast only. All your great breakfast items, pancakes, French toast, waffles, and eggs any way you want them can be had at Champ's Diner, 719 Front Street. Once again, they're open Tuesdays through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. And remember this, they accept cash only at Champ's Diner. Champ's Diner is open on Front Street, Woonsocket. All right, it's Coffee and here on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us this morning. Joe Callahan here, along with Melissa Smith, Tim Draper, and John Ward. And now I don't know if you heard about this. I read about this yesterday, and I gave it one of those "oh come on" kind of things. But who has seen the movie Romeo and Juliet
Oh, I saw this
Which one?
article.
from
Yes, I
1968?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
no.
No,
You had to see it back in school. You
Nope.
weren't forced to watch that back
Nope.
in school?
Forced to watch it.
Nope.
Definitely.
And it would have been forced exactly.
Okay,
No.
Okay.
the 2 stars of the movie,
Yep.
Romeo and Juliet.
Are
Her
now
name's
ages.
well, they're in their 70s now.
Yeah, but
Her
back
name's-
then they
her-
were like,
Well, they were 15 and 16, and that's the
Yeah.
important part of the
Right.
story.
It was-
Her
that
name's
was-
Olivia Hussey. I can't remember his name. She was 15, he was 16. They are now both suing Paramount Pictures. Ooh. $500 million.
For what? Because they were child
they were
actors
underage.
and they didn't get their fair share.
Wrong. Underage is
Underage.
part
Underage.
There was
Nudity.
and nudity.
Nudity.
Really?
You see
Yes.
his backside. You see her chest for a
A
quick
second,
second.
because I remember the teacher.
Yeah, trying to fast forward through that part. So now they're saying it's been 55 years of emotional distress, and they want their money.
They
I'm like,
also, they also, apparently the director,
he who has passed away,
yes, who has passed away, but
Franco Zeffirelli,
Zeffirelli,
something.
Zeffirelli.
Okay,
Franco Zeffirelli had told them that first they would
Oh, yeah.
be wearing flesh-colored bodysuits, and then they weren't. They were told, no, you can't do that. We're going to use makeup. And
don't worry, everything will be
and
covered, and we'll show the ankles, and
basically
don't
they
worry
said,
about it.
no, we're going to make it so the angles you won't actually be shown as nude in the scenes. And then, as it turned out, they were. But a lot of it was, if you don't do this, the movie will flop. Your careers will be affected by it for not doing this, and made them promises and stuff, and sort of made it a commitment, like, you know, they would do well after this. And I guess they ran their lives through with acting careers, and
I mean,
but
it didn't really take off, but it did okay.
particularly well. And because of that, they're now saying that lie to them affected their entire future, and that they're owed $500 million.
So I read the comments from people.
But it's because of the California law.
Yes,
that
statute of limitations.
took out the statute of limitations on child whatever
Sexploitation. Yeah.
for minors, and because they took out that statute of limitations, they're allowed to go back
And sue.
50 some years
It's
to
55.
file a lawsuit.
So it's kind of split. I saw online 50-50. And half people are saying, good for them. This should never have happened. You can't have exploitation of children. And the other half are saying, oh, give me a break. It's been 55 years, and now you're coming out with this?
Imagine what Brooke Shields can do.
Someone has said that. I
Oh,
wish Brooke
gosh,
Shields
100%.
would sue as well. Someone actually put
She'd
that
have to
as
sue
well.
her mother, though, I think, because her mother, the one that pushed her in.
Well, that's what
So
someone
I
else
was
said
just gonna say
because
that.
of the parent,
These
because they were
parents, where
underage.
were
The
they?
parent said it's okay.
You had to have signed something.
Yeah.
Very
So
interesting.
you can always sue, of course, but whether or not they win.
I think it's the volume, right? The volume they're asking for. It's not like you're just trying to make a case or point out the fact that we were young and we were influenced. That's a lot of money.
Yes.
In today's
It is.
day, in today's society where that's the kind of stuff that people just zero in on, I would think that there's a possibility that Paramount settles for some
But the movie
large, crazy
made
amount of money.
a lot of
The movie
money,
made a lot
too.
of money. Yeah, that's
So
true.
They may be just asking for the time value of the share that they should have gotten for all of the
Maybe
the what they went through that they should not have gone
they'll
through.
negotiate it down to $250 million and walk away with that.
250,000.
No, I'll bet you they'd settle for 10 and split it 5 each, and they'd be happy to walk away.
Happy.
So just
They're
keep an eye on
70-something
that.
years old. I mean,
That's true.
What are they
That
going to do
is a
with it?
fascinating story. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. That came out
That's the
yesterday.
kind of stuff.
So that's what
What
came
else
out
you
of
got?
Hollywood.
Hollywood. It's got to be
yesterday.
Hollywood. We love Hollywood. crap.
How good Hollywood. crap. Now this is going to come as no surprise to you. The number of young children who accidentally ate cannabis edibles has dramatically increased in the last 5 years.
Yeah,
We had to have a study on this.
I believe it.
Not possible.
According to the analysis of the National Poison Data System, the number jumped over 1,000%. There were more than 7,000 kids under 6 between 2017 and 2021 exposed to edibles. Researchers say increased legalization across the U.S. means edibles are more widely available.
Yep.
Edibles also come in the form of cookies, brownies, candies. Edibles packaging could also look like Cheetos, Nerds, and Gushers candy. Children who ingest edibles can
I
become
thought they were just lacing that stuff with fentanyl.
children.
that'll kill you.
Yeah, children who ingest the edibles can become incredibly sick, even have trouble standing, walking, sitting, and breathing. So
Yeah,
this,
and
you
that's-
can't be
you know,
surprised with this.
But
No.
then whose fault is that? If they're lying around on the counter because mom and dad are popping gummies,
Yeah.
whose fault is that?
It'll be the parents, I
The
guess.
government for legalizing it.
I don't know.
True.
I mean,
Who should take the ultimate
here's
blame?
the problem. The government's now going to try to come up with a solution for something that they created. Yes, it is the parents' fault, no doubt about it.
What kind of? Well, they got to change the packaging.
It's the classic case of the government creates an opportunity to people to be stupid. They be stupid, and then the government spends even more money trying to solve the problem. It's like legalizing gambling, and now the government is funding programs to protect people from themselves. How stupid are we?
Oh, all right. In other news, parents and children in Cache County, Utah, they're upset with the school district after being forced to end their Christmas break a day early. I'm really surprised at this. Children were back in school in the district yesterday, which was a national... Not yesterday. That was Monday, which was the holiday. It was the federal holiday on Monday. But they went back. They did go back on Monday. The problem was complicated by the fact that Cache Valley Transit buses were not running, creating headaches for those who normally use them to get to school. The district called it an unfortunate scheduling error. Oops. Sounds like Southwest.
Oops. Oh, yeah. No. Those problems are bigger than
We have
Parents
not
are calling
not a
on the
very strong
district.
teacher union there.
Parents are calling on the district to give anyone who missed school yesterday an excused absence.
so they don't ruin all the perfect attendance records.
I guess. I love that when the school says, well, this is an unexcused absence. And I'm like, and?
There was a time
And
when
so what happens? Well, nothing.
there was a time when that was a badge of honor for some people to not
Yes,
miss a day at
perfect
school.
attendance.
Perfect attendance.
You get
My
the
son, my
certificate.
youngest, had perfect attendance in
I
high
did.
school. Did you really?
I had a certificate.
Of course you did.
I did.
Is that just for 1 year or all 4 years?
It was presented to me my senior year at awards night.
Yeah, Ben
So I'm
was all
assuming
4.
it must have been for all 4. I was a
Wow.
healthy kid back in the day.
I guess that's it. Just healthy
Yeah.
and motivated.
Yeah. And
Sometimes-
my parents were never
But
cool to like pull us out of
there
school
were
for
some,
vacation.
There were some people who would say, perfect attendance, huh? So you went to school sick and made everybody else
Yes.
sick.
Right,
Good
there
for
will
you.
be people that say
Brilliant.
that. Correct.
100%.
You were supposed to stay home when you're sick.
But then there's some people that have perfect attendance, kindergarten, all through their senior year,
Right.
which is astounding.
Yeah. Parents
My
don't play
father
out
ruined
on
that for
vacation.
us because he took me out of the first grade so we could go to a Red Sox game one day.
Well, that's important, though.
It is important.
Joe, let's get our priorities right.
So much for perfect attendance.
I tried.
Went to see the Senators.
Oh,
Did they win?
It wasn't pretty.
Now,
for who?
It
The
was back
Senators
in-
or the
it was
Red
back
Sox?
in, let me see, this would have been 1961. They didn't
Oh,
have a
they
winning
weren't. They
record
weren't
that
too
year.
good then.
No.
But Ted Williams played.
They were
so
fighting with Cleveland for 10th
last
place.
place.
Back when they were 10 places.
All right, a fun guy here.
Fighting for it.
Where's Stafford County, Virginia?
Stafford County is just east of Richmond, I understand.
Okay, a man dubbed the Santa Slayer was arrested in Stafford County, Virginia. Authorities say the unmanned 39-year-old man, maybe that should be unarmed. Unarmed 39-year-old man attacked an inflatable Santa Claus, an inflatable decoration portraying Saint Nick in the Stafford Lakes Village on New Year's Day.
Love it.
And that made the wire somehow. That was news.
Well, someone's attacking an inflatable. You're kind of crazy. So,
Oh, okay.
uh,
There's a lot of
deputies say,
inflatables I'd like to
deputies say that
attack in the Rhode Island.
they arrived at the scene to find the suspect wearing a red jersey, underwear, and one shoe.
Well, okay. So there's an underlying problem with that.
Maybe he was looking for a place to sleep at night that was warm.
Well, probably
Maybe
because
inside the Santa.
he was taken into custody for public intoxication and held until he was sober.
sounds
I'm
like,
taking on that
sounds
Santa.
like an episode from Andy Griffith.
I was just gonna say the guy in the prison. The guy in
I'm
the-
sure there's a video that captured this, right? So you're going to share that with us later?
Well, no, there probably is, but I don't have one
Lord.
to show
just
you.
going to
Sorry,
look it up.
sorry about
I'm
that.
sure.
What a country.
And you don't want to do this either. A man in Indianapolis facing new charges after shooting a gun while he was on parole. See, that's one of the rules when you're on parole is you don't.
Can't have a gun.
Possession's enough.
What's that?
Possession is bad enough.
Yes.
Right.
Shooting it? Yeah.
Javen Williams was on parole for robbery when he fired a weapon into the air twice on Saturday night. He's just celebrating
Oh, celebrating.
New
yeah.
Year's Eve.
New
You
Year's
shoot the
Eve.
guns in
You
the air.
realize the bullets come down though, right? They go
not-
up, but they have to come.
Well,
somewhere.
fortunately, they don't come down as fast as they go up.
Right.
But, yes.
His New Year's Eve celebration were reported to police, so he is now charged with serious violent felon in possession of a firearm and criminal recklessness with a deadly weapon. Don't they revoke your parole
You
too?
know what Bugs Bunny would say here?
What a maroon!
What a maroon! What an ignoramus!
Ignoramus.
And then there's the man who left his wife at a rest stop in Thailand.
And problem with that?
I don't know. They were driving to the wife's hometown for the holidays, and the husband decided he needed to go to the restroom. So he pulls over. His wife, who was sleeping in the back, also decided to use the bathroom. When he comes back, just takes off. Well, she's obviously sleeping in the back. He just never looked.
Right. Right. That's exactly what happened,
She's still
Joe.
sleeping in the back
Come
with the wife.
on.
The wife
poor
had,
guy.
The wife had to walk to the police station to get help after driving 100 miles.
Boy,
He
she's,
realized
she's sleeping pretty good back
she's
there,
not
honey.
sleeping,
Obviously,
and
she's not a snorer.
Clearly.
he then say he raced back to reunite with her.
Oh my gosh.
100 miles. That's a good. If you go with 60 or so, that's an hour and a half.
Right.
Before you realize, hey,
Come on, haven't
I'm
you ever
all
slept in a
alone.
car for an hour and a half? I have.
An hour and a half? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not
But I'm
sober.
usually
Not sober.
When I was a kid, nuts.
But I'm also now when I sleep in the car though, I'm in the front seat.
And usually driving. So it'd be better that you don't sleep.
That's a Tesla.
no, I just say.
Did you see
I
that
just say,
story? The guy
the Tesla
the guy-
that couldn't
the guy
charge
that
his
drove-
car.
The Tesla
Yes.
that went off the cliff. The guy drove it off intentionally.
Drove the
No, I didn't hear
Was
that.
that the one with the kid, the wife, the kids in the car and
Yes.
everything? He did that intentionally?
Look
That's
it up.
Like 2
Look it up.
foot drop.
Everybody look it up. Go Google it.
They
The guy-
survived?
The guy is apparently accused of having driven it off the cliff intentionally.
Wow.
No, I heard about the Tesla that they kept trying to charge it 8 times and
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah.
charge
And
because it was
wouldn't
too
charge.
cold.
It was too cold. Yes,
Yeah.
I read that one too.
Can we
I
go
also
back to
read,
your
I also
story
read
for a
that a
minute?
Tesla, in today's paper
it's
news,
true.
I read that a Tesla actually took some police on a chase and there was no driver. It just wouldn't
great.
stop.
More good
I
reasons.
guess a police siren won't stop a Tesla or have it pull to the side or something.
Isn't that
Not part of
interesting?
it.
You would think that they could program the car.
They can program anything.
Right. To, if it
Hear the
hears a
siren,
siren, A
stop.
pulls over to the side of the road.
Or stop.
And then if the lights are behind it or something, it
Why
stops.
did he drive off the cliff though?
Yes.
I didn't read the story. I
And
just
they
read
all
the headline.
survived. I'm going back to this. They
Yeah.
all
Yes.
survived.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like 200 feet.
Oh my
He
God.
did it intentionally.
And
That's
they say he did it
disgusting.
intentionally. I got to go read the story. I just saw
that's
the headline.
crazy.
I didn't read the story.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
All right, well, we come to the end of the program, so we thank you for listening in. As always, Tim Draper, thanks for coming in today.
Joe, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being a ray of sunshine.
Let's
I
see
appreciate
if Joe
that.
does. I mean, if John
John
doesn't
screws
write
it
this
up
time.
again.
We'll see. Melissa, thanks for coming in today.
Good to see you all.
Nice to have you here. John, thanks
I'll
for coming
start
in.
with it. Enjoy the God-given day.
All right, very good. This is Joe Callahan. Have a great day. Stay tuned for Do You Remember with Gary Smith coming up at 9:30.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. Lower Island General